Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish.
And we just got done watching Saltburn.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple episodes ago and we finally just watched it.
It was, it was good.
Good.
Overall, we liked it.
Yeah. And we tried not to look at a bunch of stuff on TikTok and everything.
So we really didn't know much about it at all. So we were definitely
on
the ride.
Yeah, we were on the ride for sure. But like after the movie, we kind of were talking about it. And although it was a weird film,
eccentric.
Yeah, eccentric. It was refreshing.
It was very original. And I like we were just talking too, like there's some books that are really like unhinged. And this was definitely like that. And it made it really enjoyable and it just felt really unique.
Yeah.
And there was like some interesting scenes.
I don't know. Can we talk about it? I feel like
can we just spoil it? Yeah. Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen Saltburn and want to watch it, then skip ahead for the next 5 minutes.
Okay, where should we start then?
Well, okay, the first one that we heard so much about was the bathtub scene. Okay, was that gross?
Yeah, it was nasty, but it wasn't the most shocking scene.
No, and if I didn't have the like hype up for it or like the warning, I would have just been like, ew.
I know. And I think like the bathtub itself wasn't like dirty looking.
No, it looked very clean.
So I feel like maybe if it would have been real scummy,
then I would have been more disgusted.
But it just, it was weird.
Yeah. But you know what like came to me just now is like this isn't like necessarily like a new thing, like you know that No Doubt song Bathwater, like we've been singing that for decades.
Right.
Like she's washing in it, he's taking a sip, like what's the difference? Really?
Right. Yeah.
So that was weird, but it wasn't like there were
it made sense. Like it just really showed like the obsession of Oliver.
It just went up from there. Like the other scenes that were the most shocking, like I am so surprised that we didn't hear about them.
Right.
Like what they're calling it, the vampire scene.
That was so foul.
That was
not to kink shame.
Yeah.
But that was foul.
As a woman, that's a hard no for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna pass on that.
Like, please don't ever do that to me.
No.
Like I can't even imagine. And then
I kind of want to ask my husband just to see what he says.
You should just like play that one scene where we're like,
what
hey,
do
I want to show
baby?
You.
Anyway.
And then the other one was like toward the end, the grave scene.
Yeah. Which I had no idea about.
This is all spoilers, people. So remember when Felix died specifically. Yes. Yeah, we had no warning about that at all. I saw no mention of that.
No, not a single mention of that. And it was like we made a joke about that going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it did happen.
Yeah, like Hannah literally said it like a minute before. She's like,
wait a minute.
Oh, what is he gonna? And then we're like, oh my God, yeah, he actually is.
But even though that scene was really weird, I do feel like it really felt true to the character.
Yeah, I know.
So it was like all these scenes, but then the other shocking scene was when the sister passed away.
Yeah.
And that was like, because that was the most like gory scene that we got.
So do you think that was self-induced or that he did it? Because it
later, where him just setting them on there.
Right. But then I was thinking, because when we first saw her in the bathtub, we saw a lot of water like outside and like kind of going toward his room. So I was like, that wouldn't make sense if she did that to herself. Right. So I'm thinking that
it seemed like a struggle, like with all the splashing and everything. So he probably did, but like some of the stuff I am confused. I'm like, did that conversation even happen?
Right.
Like...
I know it was. And while we were watching, like even at the beginning, we're like, I don't know who's being deceitful. Like, is it Felix or is it Oliver? Like, we couldn't. And then it just kept growing and growing. And then once they got to Saltburn, like, you could see more like, okay, it is. Like, when Felix kind of called him out and was like, oh, well, why can I never remember the cousin's name?
Farley.
Why can I not remember that? Farley said that you hooked up with Venetia. And he's like, no, like I was just, she kissed me and I felt bad and
it's like,
I didn't want to embarrass her. Yeah, like he's like, oh, he's just making up stuff. Like that was when I was like, okay.
You jerk.
I know. It was crazy.
Yeah. Or like with the mom at the end too, where he ripped the like tube.
Yeah. Oh, that's just, you felt that.
I was like, oh gosh, like it was just so, and then we didn't know what was going to happen there. So these sexuals going to happen.
It was like we said before we started recording, it was very like sexual, but in an obsessive, creepy way, and not in like an overtly like, oh my god, this is gratuitous, hot. Yeah, it was like, I like how it was done.
Yes, and he used it as like a manipulation tool too. So that was good.
And just how everyone could be so easily manipulated, you know?
And it was just fun, like just the whole aesthetic of the movie too, with like the rich people and the party.
The early 2000s.
It was. I love that.
I do want to know, for those of you who watched Saltburn, like, did it say that it jumped ahead 15 years?
Because I know. That was we supposed to?
We were like, wait, how are we supposed to know that?
I know. Other than just like, oh, you're an adult.
Yeah,
now.
Like I could tell, but that could have been 5 years, you know, like, but I don't know. We'd have to watch it again and like stop it.
I know, because as we're watching it, everything was such a surprise that it was like, whoa.
That would be a movie that like, I don't think I'd watch it again like immediately, right? But like I would watch it again to pick up on other things,
the stuff you didn't notice before. Yeah. Now that we kind of know like the big
because they'd even said when we were kind of looking up stuff, like there's foreshadowing in different places that like you wouldn't pick up unless you knew what was happening.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's different. It's fresh. Different. I just like when we have movies like that and actors want to push boundaries like that, because it just makes it more entertaining.
It does. And like we were saying too about Jacob Elordi, about how like someone like him, who's like the stereotypical guy or like jock guy, should do like a role like this.
Yeah.
Because
to be like taken a little bit more seriously, I guess, because like him in Euphoria, and I don't have HBO, so I don't watch Euphoria on the regular, but I've seen enough clips of it. It's like he's this stereotypical American like jock character, and while that is a more serious role, it's like you kind of expect him to play that kind of role, whereas something like this, you're so like thrown off by it, like whoa, like this is a boundary pushing film.
Yeah, and like his character was actually pretty sad, like it's good. I loved it.
And even like before, like around his death, we were so like, what happened? What happened?
I know, and that was kind of like a mystery until the end, which was kind of cool, but it was a little frustrating because we wanted to know if he was murdered.
I know, we were
it was like
dying.
The first kill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was cool.
It was, it was good. It was definitely a conversation piece, but I think like, I cannot believe that people watched this with their family.
I know.
Like, just raw dogging it, going through, like
holy crap.
How would you even, from like the previews of it, I'm like, this doesn't look like something I want to watch.
It looks too artistic to be watched with multiple people.
This isn't a family film. No. And like, I feel like I could probably watch any movie with you and we could like not make it be weird. But yeah, like
I wouldn't want to watch it with a not great friend.
Right. Yeah. That I'd be like, okay, wow. Right. Like, you don't know what they're going to think about it.
Like if they're going to want to turn it off. Or
and like, yeah, with you and I watching, like throughout the whole thing, we're like having a little bit of commentary and like, what's happening? You know, like we're both on the same page.
Right.
Oh my, I can't even imagine if I watched that with my dad for like me seeing it for the first time and him seeing it. I'd be like mortified.
Be like, you know what? Let's just turn it off.
I think we need to stop.
But I feel like it'd be a movie that you couldn't look away from. So you'd have to literally sit there through the whole movie with people in their shock and silence. I
know. Well, that's what we were saying too. If you watched it in the theaters, like I'm glad we didn't go to the theater because you'd almost like be embarrassed around strangers.
I know, like everybody's just looking forward, like not looking at
like,
each other.
Thank God we're all in the dark right now.
I don't want anyone to know this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's the perfect movie to watch in the comfort of your own home.
By yourself.
Yeah, or with a friend that you know has the same taste as you.
Yes.
But it's fun to talk about it and like analyze stuff. Like
I know. I want to even get even further into it and like the comparisons to some people were saying. Oh crap. Never mind.
I saw stuff with Greek mythology.
Yeah, that, and then there was another movie.
Oh, with another movie.
I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was good, but I prefer a movie like that where I can like dig deeper into it rather than one where I just watch and then I'm like,
all right.
Okay, and then just move on with my day. It's more entertaining and fun.
Yes. And I do think this is interesting the way we're getting like, because this also said it was a comedy along with May December. Yeah. It's interesting that we are getting a more like thoughtful comedy because you can't, just with like the climate, people are a little more sensitive now. So like this is kind of like comedy that's not hurting anyone.
Well, and it's kind of like real comedy too, because how many
the realness of life.
Yeah, like how many times are there like horrible things that happen in your life and you just like laugh about it because, or like you do something that from the outside is like so bizarre, or you look back on and you're like, why did we do that?
It's but so
like,
dark.
Like when Oliver's dad allegedly dies and then they throw the rock and it like didn't fall in the water. Like that was funny.
It was.
Even though it was so sad. Or like after they found out Felix was dead and they're all like eating lunch. Like
just going on and on.
And it was so uncomfortable.
I know.
You know?
Or when he was like being wheeled away.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh God. It's like it's not funny, but it's so horrible and painful.
And it just makes me think like how does a writer
come
think
up with
of that stuff?
I know. And just like the character, like I want a deep dive on all the different characters.
The character, like the development. I want the backstory. Yes,
because they were all so like thought through or whatever.
Yeah. And even like with Farley, remembered his name? Like, you know, he had like a lot more to his like character bio that he was initially given versus like what we actually saw portrayed on the screen. Like, you know, there was more stuff with the mom.
Yes.
You know, there's a story of like why he's back with this side of the family, but we never got into it.
No. Yeah. Or even like that, her name is Pamela, right?
Yeah, the
red hair.
Yeah. Carey Mulligan. Yeah.
That one where after she passed away they're like, oh yeah, she died or whatever. Oh, she'll do anything for attention. It's like, oh my gosh.
I know. And just even when they were saying like she kind of overstayed her welcome. Yeah. And she's like, well, actually, I think I found a place. Like, what are we going to do without you here? She's like, well, I could stay. Oh, no, you wouldn't want to do that.
She's like, I loved having just a tiny little studio apartment or whatever she called it.
There's nothing more freeing than having one room.
Like, it was just such a, I don't know, it was just a smart humor.
Yeah, it was. It's just, I'm in awe of people who can be that creative.
I know.
And who have that talent, because it really is. And like, when you have a movie or like a song or, you know, any type of like art, and you really have to like sit back and think about it. And you like, just us talking just now, like we could pull all these scenes that were like funny or interesting or like boundary pushing. Like, to be able to create something like that is amazing.
Or to even take the gamble that people are gonna get
really.
it.
That's so true.
It's like, here we are. We're like, I feel like we got what they were trying to give.
I know. And I wonder. Well, we have to do a little bit more research
to make sure we fully got it.
But that's what I want to know. Like, we saw so much of it on social media because it was this like hot topic. But like, what are people actually saying about it? Like, I want to know, these people, were they just like in shock about it? Did they just watch it because like Jacob Elordi's in it and he's such a babe? Like, what was the reason why you watched it? And like, what are your actual thoughts? Like, are you sitting down and like really thinking about it now?
Or were you like, that was weird and like walked away?
I know, because I want to be with the people that are like analyzing it,
loving
talking about it,
looking up all the actors.
And like we said too, we watched this one part of an interview with the director, and I don't know how old she is. I'm horrible at judging, but she's at least like mid to late 30s. I would say she had to have been. So she like was that prime in the early 2000s, and she's like, oh my gosh, you know, they had the costume designers and they'd come and be like, oh, I found this super lame dress, it'll be perfect. And she's like, oh yeah, like I own that. Like, I feel like us watching it, because even though we weren't like in our prime of like our teens and 20s in the early 2000s, since we were so consumed with pop culture, it resonated a little bit more with us than I feel like a 17-year-old watching it, you know? Like,
especially there was one character when they were like in their college, and like the outfit was just so exactly what we wore in like middle school. Like, it could not have gotten any better.
I know. And it's just like, that was hot to wear that. That was cool to wear that. And just like those little things, it's like actually nostalgic for us. Yeah. Whereas like for kind of the younger generation, it's like, I don't know how we portrayed the 80s. Right. And like now I feel like I'm understanding that more. Like, no, it's not the same.
No. And I remember when we were saying too, it was like, can you imagine being like a teenager or like in college hooking up, and you had to take the denim skirt off, the leggings, the belt, the like first top,
3 tops you had on,
all the camis. Hold on, and then your hair is like in a bump,
puffed up. Yeah,
like hopefully you didn't mess it up.
I know. Makeup. Hopefully your bump it didn't fall out.
That was great. I mean, it was great.
I know. I feel like this is why like hookup culture wasn't as prevalent, because it wasn't like
all the
and it wasn't beautiful. It was actually like uncomfortable and really messy.
You probably had to take your bangles off.
All the jewelry.
The chunky. The earrings that were like this big and plastic.
Oh my God, I know.
It's good.
Anyway, yeah, it was good. It was fun. I'm glad that we finally got to watch it.
I know. Me too, because I've been like dying, especially trying to stay off of not seeing stuff about it.
That was
was
the hard
so
part.
hard.
I know, like we just said too. Not Skinny but Not Fat had posted a bunch of it,
like a ton
scenes from the movie,
and there was no warning. Like there was no like spoiler warning.
And I mean, I can't blame her because
it's
been on Prime for a while and it's been in theaters for us, so it's not like she's fully spoiling it. But I would have liked, like some people don't have Prime, so then like how could they have seen it if they didn't want to go to the theater? Like maybe wait a second or let us know.
Give me a minute.
But yeah, we like both like clicked through really fast or like,
I was like
went out of it. Yeah, we couldn't see. I didn't want to spoil her.
So
but now I wish I could see what she did think of it. I'm mad.
We could message her.
If only we'd watched it a little bit sooner.
I know.
But anyway, now we can check that off the list.
I know.
So that'll be for like the 2024 awards cycle.
Yeah, because it's the Golden Globes.
Yeah,
just got
it
nominated.
missed the cutoff for it, I think.
I thought he was nominated.
Oh wait, did it? Was it? Did it just make it?
I thought I just seen.
I truly don't know.
Posted something.
I'm gonna be honest, like. In recent years, I feel like I've really fallen off with my award season stuff. Maybe I'll pay attention
this time, though, because we've seen.
Well, because I just feel...
not him.
I just feel like in more recent years, like it just hasn't been fun.
I know, and it's gotten like incredibly political.
Yeah.
And it's like, just shut up and act.
I know, it's just not enjoyable to watch that. And especially like through the COVID stuff, not to take it to this level, but it was just really hard to sit there and like watch celebrities
be rich and famous.
Up.
I know.
It was really hard.
Get to go out.
Yeah.
Yeah, best... Yeah, Golden Globes. Best male actor, motion picture drama.
For who? Barry?
No, I'll just read them all.
Okay.
Bradley Cooper, Maestro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon, Coleman Domingo, Rustin.
I never heard of that one.
Very cute. I don't know how to say it.
Keoghan, I think.
Keoghan, Saltburn, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, Andrew Scott. All of Us Strangers. So there you have it.
So I've heard, and I haven't heard of two of them.
No.
I saw Killers of the Flower Moon is...
You saw it?
No, I didn't see it yet.
A book.
It's on. It is. My grandpa's actually reading it.
I was about to put myself on the list.
Yeah, he's reading it. But it's like 3 hours, I think, and it's on Apple TV. Oh. I think that you have to like. I could be wrong about this. I think you have to rent it right now, but it's going to be available to stream on Apple TV soon, or it's already on there. I can't remember which one, but it's really long because I was gonna start that last night, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to commit to that. And then I need to see Oppenheimer.
That's good.
So okay, so
another long movie.
I know it must have just made the cutoff then, which I think is kind of nicer.
Yeah.
Because
I know, because that's not fair.
It's really hard for those movies. And I mean, I guess there's probably some studios that like plan.
Right. But if they wanted to release Saltburn during like Oppenheimer and Barbie or Barbieheimer, it
would have been lost completely.
So it's like you had to wait. And it wasn't like a Christmas movie, but there was a Christmas scene.
I know. Yeah, there was.
So it made sense for it to come out during the holiday season. So
but it's almost if they would have waited, because I don't know when the exact cutoff is, because it had been in theaters like before Christmas.
Yeah.
But regardless, if they wait a little bit too long, then it's like, okay, now we have to wait until next February for award season to come, and we've already forgotten fully. Like it's been a year since that movie was released. Like you forget. So. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have to see some of the other ones, some of the other movies. What did I just watch last night? I watched something. Oh, I've been watching that. Did you listen to that podcast, Dr. Death?
No, I didn't, but I keep hearing the ads.
You should listen to it. I think there's 3 or 4 seasons, but they were very interesting stories. But the one that they made the show out of, or the most recent show, is like out of that Dr. Masserini, I think. I could be saying his last name wrong. But I started watching that one that was on Hulu with Mandy Moore.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That was good. I mean, I had already listened to the podcast like when it came out a few years ago, and then I just listened to it again while I was doing some holiday baking to prep for the series. But I guess the Bonita Alexander is like the Mandy Moore character in real life. And she said that they like didn't consult her at all. Gosh, which I find bizarre.
I know. I just feel like that's so unethical, especially if the people are still alive.
Right.
It's like, excuse me, this was my story.
I know. And so she was saying like, yeah, there's stuff in there that's just completely inaccurate. And like, I know that obviously they can take liberties with it being a series and not like a documentary.
Right.
But it's weird that they have her available to like interview and have consult, or at least they have the like freaking podcast like that they could have, because there was stuff in there I'm like, well, that's not how it happened in the order. And you know, like you expect that, but I think that would be really frustrating.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
If that was your story and you're like, well, so you didn't want to pay me? You just, literally. Like, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's got to be that, because it's like, oh, well, or it's like, you're going to hinder my creativity.
Yeah.
And it's like, but this is a real story that happened. You can't just like do whatever you want.
I know. It's really weird.
That is weird.
But it was, I actually think that the podcast is more
interesting or like good? Or?
Yeah. It's just, you get more of like, wow, like this is really horrible.
Right.
I mean, when you're watching it unfold, it just doesn't hit the same, I don't think. I mean, which is weird because you almost think it would be more so.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, because if you're explaining everything that happened, you can't show everything that happened. So, yeah, that would make sense.
And it's just like sometimes with the you know, like portrayals of a real story, you know, like the Lifetime stuff or otherwise, it's like they always end up choosing an actor or actress that's like maybe a little more polished or a little bit more like aesthetically pleasing to the masses. Yes. But it almost takes away from it, because Mandy Moore is, you know, fine actress, whatever, but I think she's very much like one type of an actor.
Right.
Like she, like in This Is Us, perfect role for her. She's this like sweet mother with a little bit of depth, but not too much.
Right.
And, you know, like, but in this, like Bonita Alexander was actually like a hard-hitting, like serious journalist. Right. And like you saw much more emotion and like, I hate using this word, but I'm going to use it, grit from her, like in the podcast and in her real like interviews. And I just feel like it was taken away in this series.
Right. And it's like, I get like it is nice to have like a bigger name in something, but that's why it does work a little bit better when you do like that type of thing, to have like a no name in there, because it's not distracting.
I know, that's the story. What it is. Yeah. And
it's like, but I know Mandy Moore and I'm just picturing her from Walk to Remember. Like,
well, yeah. And it just felt like, yeah, the story, basically that doctor really like schmoozed his way into a lot of people's hearts and all this stuff. Like he was very charismatic, whatever. And he made her fall in love with him. And then, but it just felt like with Mandy Moore, it was like, well, of course someone's going to fall in love with Mandy Moore. And of course she's just going to be the perfect one to be like, oh, you know.
The sweetest apple pie.
But like Bonita Alexander in real life was not like that. Right. So it was almost like more shocking that she could have been manipulated by someone.
Like, and instead they made her very docile.
Yes. Yeah. It was, yeah. So, I mean, was it still interesting? Sure, yeah. But I would listen to the podcast over watching the show.
Or like do the podcast first.
Do the podcast first. Yeah, 100%.
Well, speaking of true crime, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is
what do you feel about it?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know, because I wouldn't, because I saw she was like getting. Did you ever watch the Joey King one?
I didn't, because I just felt like I already had so much about this.
Right. And then to like see it. And it's like, it's a hard story to like actually watch. But I don't know, because I was just like listening. I'm like, I want to hear about the case again, because it had been a while. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel about like people like freak. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Like we don't want to say anything because so many people are like standing her now.
Which is fine.
No, it is. And listen, she was in a horrible situation.
I know, like it's so bizarre, you know, just like the whole thing. And that was the first time I really heard about that, like Munchausen by proxy. And it's like, that is such a unique form of abuse that is horrible.
So and it's just like when someone's like kidnapped or something, and they're like, well, are you going to, you know, judge them or punish them for killing their captor or whatever? But so it was kind of like along those same lines, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be on the wrong side of history on this one. But it's just like, she still like killed her mom and brought her. Somebody kill her mom. She brought her boyfriend into the whole thing, and like she was the mastermind, and like Do I think that was kind of her only way out? Yeah. But it's just really weird that now we're like totally like ride or die for Gypsy Rose.
I know. And I hate to have her get put on this pedestal and then just like completely fall off after such a trauma that she's already had.
And that's the thing too. It's like, we don't really know much about her besides everything, like the Munchausen by proxy stuff, like her childhood.
Right.
And then the crime, and now her being in jail. Like, I don't think that she's even had enough time to really like fully become herself to the public.
Right.
So it just seems kind of rushed.
It does. And then everyone's like, woo, woo. And it's like, well, hold on a second. And it was like just crazy to have like the paparazzi like following her around. It's like, and then she's like, there's pictures of her like shopping for things. And who was the guy that was with her?
I think they said it's her husband. So she must have married somebody while she was in prison.
Because I couldn't tell, because he was like a bigger guy. I was like, is that a bodyguard, or is that like a significant other?
It at first, yeah. I don't know. It's really complicated because, I mean, I am glad that she's not going to be in prison for like, you know, the rest of her life or anything like that, and that wasn't her sentence anyway. But I just kind of wish that it would have been like, okay, she got released and now she can just live a normal
and like
life,
try to start over, and then maybe come onto Instagram.
It's just like she flew out on the scene. There was all this hype about like countdown to when she's getting released. I mean, literally.
Which is wild.
And now she has like, last I checked, she had like 4.5 million followers on Instagram.
And like the internet is so quick to switch up on people.
I know.
Like I'd hate for all like I just would hate to have like the downfall of her.
I know, me too.
After everything. And it's like, I doubt she was getting any of the mental health she needed. Thinking. It's like, let's work on that. And it's like, I don't even know how you could fully recover from that, but I just feel like, I don't know, let's calm down, people.
Well, it just almost seems like, because I saw on her Instagram too how they were doing like a book was being released. And then I think there was also like there
was like another documentary
thing. Right? Yeah. And I'm just like, I get that, you know, we're in a society where it's like you want to monopolize on stuff and monetize
while
where you can.
Yeah.
I understand that, but it really just seems kind of inappropriate and almost insensitive to be like, okay, Gypsy Rose, like the last year and a half that you're here in prison, we're gonna have you write this book, okay? And then when you come out, we're gonna release it, and then we're also working on this series, and I'm setting up this Instagram for you, and like it just seems like,
I know, like, do you have like a PR team?
Yeah.
And it's like, are these people's motives even good when they're like,
because they're getting a cut,
right? It's like, yeah, let's hurry up and do this now. We have to be the first one to get this out. And I thought you couldn't maybe I'm profit like off a crime, like you personally, or is that just when you're in jail? Like Chris Watts can't like write a book in jail and sell it.
When you're in jail.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I guess she's all good.
Because I guess like who's stopping you afterwards? Yeah. Yeah, it just feels kind of icky to me, and
it does.
It's almost like we're not protecting her.
No.
And I feel like we should.
We're just like gassing her up. And then it could be another thing where it's like, oh, in a month, nobody cares anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that would suck for her.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I don't know what
because realistically, that's probably what will end up happening. Yeah.
I know. Like once the hype and stuff is over, it's just like she's going to go into obscurity.
I know.
And because she's like famous, it's gonna be hard to get like a regular job if she wants that.
Because she's pretty recognizable, right? So I know. Yeah, I felt very conflicted about it. Like
I know, I was like nervous.
I'm happy for her.
Right.
I am, but I just want her to.
No, and she's essentially been in prison her whole life. So like this is her first time being free. And I don't know.
Because basically, with her mom, it was a prison. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Can we just give her a little space?
Yeah. And I think she's 32 that I read.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume that she would be. She just looks so much younger.
She does. She's still got a lot left.
Yeah.
Gosh, a terrible story. But
I know.
Anyway,
well, this is our first episode that we're recording after the holidays.
Yes.
So we're rolling into the new year.
Hopefully you guys had a good holiday season.
Ours was fine.
Yeah, it was all right. I'd give it a 6.5. Well, maybe
I've had
7.
worse.
Yeah, I've had worse holidays. And the kids were fun this year, but I don't know, it's weird this year. It's
I know.
A weird one.
Well, you know what's always weird? It's like just the vibe. Like when there's not snow on the ground, it just feels off.
I know. Or like if you have to go to work like the next day.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It wasn't.
Yeah. Well, for you too, it's like awkward because could you take time off?
Right.
Sure, you could. But since you have kids, you're also like, well, I might need this for something else. Or maybe we plan a little trip or you don't want to just take off.
Take it off. Right. Or like screw everybody at work.
Right. I know.
Even if you give them enough, it's just like such a busy time because everyone thinks like one day of us being closed is gonna like just throw everybody like they can't handle it.
Yeah, like,
they're all gonna lose their minds. But anywho,
yeah. But I've had better. I've had worse.
Yeah, it was just kind of like.
It's just what's weird to me, and you probably have some people like this in your life too, where it's like we're fully adults now. Yes. Like we've been full on adults for a while.
many years at this point.
Stop asking me, well, what did you get for Christmas?
I know. Oh my gosh. It's like,
why is this a question that you're asking?
Literally the whole year when I was buying myself stuff. Yeah. That was my Christmas present.
Was my Christmas present. Why are you asking me what I got for Christmas? Like honestly, there's nothing to write home about. Like,
I know.
Unless someone bought me a new car or like a trip to freaking Bermuda. Like,
then I'll be. I know. My grandma and grandpa got us a meat package from like the.
Oh, that's interesting.
Local butcher, I guess you could say. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yeah. And then when I was like going grocery shopping, I'm like,
I don't have to buy meat.
It was so weird, So that was great.
Did you know that she was getting you that?
No, I didn't, because she asked me I know, she asked me what we wanted, and I was like, I don't know. You don't have to get us anything. And then she got us that. My mom and stepdad have gotten us that like twice before too, and it's such a good gift.
Yeah, that really is. Such a good gift. You're gonna use it. It takes a little pressure off. Yeah, I know, not to go down that road too, it being like oldies, but like things are expensive out here.
I know, like you want to pay for my groceries? Thank you.
Thank you so much. A Kroger gift card? Oh my goodness.
Gas cards, please bring it on.
I know, like I like a fun gift if it's going to be thoughtful.
Right.
But other than that, like, get me something practical.
I know.
You know?
Like, more Tupperware, please.
Yeah. I know. Like, seriously, just something nice and practical. But you still were like, Ailish would like this.
Yes.
Not just like, oh, let me get you a candle that I could have given to anybody.
Right.
Like, yeah, you know I'm going to use a candle, but do you know what scent I like?
Exactly.
It's just weird. Like, people, it was fun to ask that when you were like,
I know.
6.
And then you could be like, I got a new skateboard and a hula hoop.
And it was more about the gifts.
Yes.
But you're right. Like, I buy myself things all the time.
Like, literally all year. I told my husband, I said, I'm not allowed to buy any more sweaters this year. I'm done. I have enough sweaters.
I know. It's so hard to not, though. That's what where was I the other day? And I was like, oh my God, I want to buy this. Oh, I was at H&M. And I'm like, oh, I should get this. I'm like, you have a whole closet of shoes and sweaters.
Yes.
You do not need one more.
I know, like,
this is ridiculous.
Down. I was just being an old lady. I was like, because I was shopping yesterday, and I went into Aerie, which it's like that is kind of a youngerish, but now they don't. I mean, they have like stuff anybody can wear,
right?
Now, and
I
it's
think
like
they've
bras
rebranded.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God, was I the oldest woman in there? Like, I am telling
with
you,
your kids?
Yes, with my kids. Literally, when I got up to my mom was with my older one, like playing Uno, waiting for me. They're so dramatic. Anyway, I had the baby in the carrier. And he had like fallen asleep on me or whatever. And when I got up to the cash register, the lady was like, oh my gosh, I saw you walking. It was like a young girl. She's like, I saw you walking around with the baby. She's like, that could never be me. I was like,
why though? Like, what are you trying to say?
I know. I think I don't know. It's like, you can still live with a baby.
Right.
You could still be. But anyway, I just felt like such an old lady. And then there was a sale at Lululemon.
Oh my gosh, I saw that. Because we both grew up at Crocker. Yeah. But I was there like 2 days before you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that line was insane.
I didn't even know they were having a sale.
Either. My mom said something. She's like, look at the line. I heard they had like a 50% off. I didn't even bother going in. But it was like all these young girls.
I know. Well, when I saw the line, because I don't really shop there.
Me either.
But when I saw the line, I'm like, well, I'm sure as heck I'm going in now. Like, if I would have known they had a sale and there wasn't a huge line, I probably would have looked.
Right.
But no, I'm not standing out on that.
And I just felt, I don't know, I just felt like an old lady.
I feel like that a lot of times when I go up to Crocker Park. It's not really close to us, but I enjoy going there because I like to pretend that that's my life. But a lot of times when I'm around, like in Sephora especially, it's like...
These youngsters.
Can you just let me freaking get my face care, like skincare?
Get out of the way.
Yeah, it's like these little kids, not to, again, on a soapbox here, but these kids with their like parents' credit cards, like, you know, that's what it is. They were dropped off at the Crocker Park.
They're spending like $200.
Right, on like Drunk Elephant because they saw it on TikTok.
Guess what I had? Clean and Clear.
Yeah, literally. We had the Neutrogena with the freaking plastic balls and we were rubbing it into our skin because it cleaned our pores. Yeah, I mean, it drives me up the wall. And then it's like, where the one place I was in Barnes and Noble maybe or something.
Gosh, that place was crazy.
It was so crazy in there, but it's just like these kids just acting like fools. I'm like, can you grow up?
You whippersnappers, just quiet down. And it's like, it's funny too, like, because I get on Book Talk a lot, looking for books. The way that TikTok is infiltrated into like the bookstore. It's like all those books, I'm like, those are all recommended on TikTok. Yeah. The way it's like...
It's crazy.
It is.
It's so crazy. I know.
It's just nuts. Not going on.
Well, like, were we annoying like that? Like, I just think, usually it was just you and I. We didn't have a huge group of like girlfriends that we would go out with. Whatever. But I just feel like, the worst thing that we probably did that would be annoying to people would probably be like, we found something funny that nobody else would find funny. And so we would be like laughing hysterically.
Yes.
But like, I wasn't like in people's way or like being so obnoxious.
Yes. I know. I feel like that too. it's just like, I don't know. They're like a different breed.
They are.
And they have perfect hair.
I know. Perfect skin. Perfect little bodies. I know. It just makes me so mad.
Dweepy.
I know. Everything about us. Bad skin. Our hair, we didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know how to do our makeup.
No.
But these little girls don't even have to wear makeup because they have this perfect skin.
Literally.
And it's not even because they're getting good skincare. It's just because they have it.
I know. It's like they're bred different now.
And they're all like double zeros, flat little stomachs. I'm like,
so skinny.
I know. I'm jealous, honestly.
I know. It's just, it just feels weird. Like, I'm like, am I too old to be in here? But the clothes aren't that young.
No, they're not really.
Yeah. It's like, they look like stuff like anybody could wear.
They're just like loungy stuff.
Yeah.
I have never been a big Aerie shopper. I used to go to their Victoria's Secret there, but then they pulled out, which was annoying because I liked being able to like go in and get a bra or and underwear. Not have to get it online. Like that's annoying.
Right. And not have to then go to like Aerie where it's appealing to a younger group.
I know. Victoria's Secret, when we were like teenagers, that was like the adult store to go. And like, they had pink, but it was like, that's how we like rationalized us going there. Right. It was like, no, I like the pink stuff. Right. Yeah.
Like, then you just look around it on the lingerie.
Yeah. And you're like looking through the little thong bin.
Like, I would totally get this.
Yeah. But I know, it's just, I feel like Aerie was that younger demographic. And now they're like pulling away from it. But I get it. You still feel
like an old lady just wandering around in the store with the baby attached to my front.
But where else can we even go?
No, I know. Literally, though. And it's like, even the just regular clothes stores, it's like, I might go. I don't really get stuff from American Eagle much, but it's like, where else are we supposed to go? I'm not going to go to like Ann Taylor yet.
Right, I know.
I'm not ready for my square shirts that are that thick of material and my trousers. I'm just not ready.
With like elastic waists that are like a thick waistband like that.
Literally.
I know. We're in that weird middle stage.
I know.
I even feel that way about J. Crew sometimes. Like, I like their stuff. I don't really have the place to wear their stuff all the time, or like that I can justify the price of some of their stuff, but I like the vibe. But I go in there and it's like, okay, well, the lady that's helping me is,
10 years younger,
56. And I feel like weird, like, okay, should I not shop here yet? Like, it's just, I don't know.
I know, it's like some stuff I just think is too young or not practical for my life. And it's hard out here, man.
Even like with H&M, I like to get like basic stuff there.
And it's like cheap.
Or if I wanted like, oh, this is kind of trendy. Like, I don't care if this lasts. I'll go there. But even some of their stuff that's not even like super trendy. It's just like, can I wear that?
I don't
does it feel too youthful?
Yes.
Like, I'm not in that. But you know how there's that one like back section that's next to the kids stuff?
Yes.
That section feels like I can't go in.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. I'm like, it's cute, but like, I just can't
do it. I know.
I can't do it. I know it is. Or there's like that specific type of dress where it's super cute, but it's really short.
I know.
And it's like, no, I can't do that. Well, and there's a lot of that in the summertime. And I'm like, it's just too young.
Well, and I'm also just like, if I lived somewhere else, I think that we could.
Yeah.
It would be fine. Right. But the people that were around more might judge. And I just don't want to deal with that.
No.
Or like, just where we are, like, okay, if I see somebody from work out or something, like,
I don't want to see them.
I don't want them to see this side of me. Like, it's weird.
I know. It's tough out here for us old ladies.
It really is. It's hard. I just bought a bunch of stuff online from Abercrombie.
Yeah.
I was looking for new jeans and then they were having a sale. So I bought a couple like athletic things and something else I can't remember, but I might end up returning because it might not fit well. But
right.
Anyway, they used to have an Abercrombie at Crocker.
Yeah.
And then that pulled out when Abercrombie was going downhill. Right. And I think that they should have stayed. I'm sure the rent was high. Right. And I know Abercrombie went through some rough years there. But imagine the traction they would be getting up in Crocker Park now. Yes. I mean, that would have been a gold mine for them to stay there. And I would go shopping there too. Like, they've really rebranded.
I know. Yeah, because, for a while there was like, well, for us, it was like, go there when we were younger. And then it was like, no, nobody wants the Abercrombie thing anymore. Right. And then they did do the rebrand. And it's like, and that's what everybody's buying now is those basics.
Right.
Those timeless basics.
And that's kind of what Abercrombie was at the beginning, too. It was more like sportswear, more basic things. And then it really molded. And then obviously there was this scandal with their like racist CEO. And
it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah. But they did. They have. I remember like Abercrombie was one of the big places that people would intern because they're headquartered in Columbus. And we went there for like a visit. Yeah. My fashion class in college. And it was like crazy. I mean, I think we went there. It must have been either my freshman year at some point, and none of us were doing co-ops yet. And we were like, oh my God, like I would die to work here. This is so amazing. They have this huge campus. It was so cool how they had mock-ups of all the stores. And that's back when they still had like Gilly Hicks and stuff. Remember that? And it was like so cool. And like they just had like different areas and everything was walkable and it just was like such a cool vibe and a place to be. But I never interned there. I never did a co-op there, even though I don't even think I applied for some reason. I wanted to go to New York, obviously, but I should have because I think they paid really well, but too late now.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, man. Yeah. Do you remember that girl that was on Juicy Scoop? Where it was the American Apparel girl that did the book.
Yes, that was for a little while ago, wasn't it?
It was, and the book was called Strip Tease.
Yes,
yeah. I don't think I told you this. I ended up listening to it.
Yeah, no, you didn't tell me that.
I did not like it.
Really?
I didn't really like it.
You didn't like her perspective?
I thought the book was a lot different than I was expecting. Oh. And like, I just didn't think the story, this sounds mean, but I didn't think it was like that bad. Like I mean, it was like, should the guy have been sleeping with all the young girls?
Of course not. No. Is that expected? Yes.
I know. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you should read it. But
yeah,
I just
look
like
into it.
Some of the stuff she was saying was just really irritating me. And I don't know. It just felt like, I can see why she thought it was like a cult and everything. Yeah. But it was it was interesting to like talk about like the coming up of a business like that. But and like when the celebrities started like shopping there, like that was interesting to hear because she worked at the one that was right where all the celebrities were going.
Oh yeah, in like LA, wasn't it?
But I just didn't find her. I don't know. That just got me thinking about the Abercrombie thing. Yeah. I just didn't find the story that, I don't know, compelling, I guess. Like, I don't feel like she was fully abused in the situation.
Right. Was it just about like, was it fully about Abercrombie? Didn't they have a little documentary about them too?
I think I actually do feel like I remember something along those lines where they were like talking about
and they were
all
like,
those people.
Because in it they said like a mall. This is what a mall was. It's like people still know what freaking malls are. But I feel that same way. Like, was it horrible? Like, yeah, the CEO was a racist old white man. Right. And what did he probably treat people super well or like favor certain people over the probably, but like let's not pretend that the fashion industry wasn't full of like corruption.
I know, or that it was nice.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I know. And it was like, she's like, well, they were selling to us that it wasn't like, this fast fashion, like what we know is fast fashion now and stuff. And it's like, okay, but like it just felt felt kind of like naive to think that it wasn't like that.
Yeah. Well, and also like, you know, I've had experiences like different from other people than because I did internships like within the fashion industry. So I get that I have a little more of like a insider perspective. But it's like, if you seriously think that we don't have like sweatshops here in America, you're stupid. Like, I'm sorry. We do. I've been in them, you know, it's not great. Like, I know. And you feel like a freaking idiot as a little intern going up and picking up samples. And there's a room full of like poor, like immigrant women that don't speak the language sewing all day. Like, yeah. And the poor things are happy when they bought them pizza for lunch. Like, this is literally what is happening, and it's not overseas. And if you get into the industry and you think that's not happening, like, I think you need to wake up. I know.
And her story wasn't even that old.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think she's that, I mean, she's older than us, but not, I mean, because I feel like she was like talking about stuff like in 2000, I can't remember. I'm going to screw it up.
No, but like the yeah, the when American Apparel was huge was in like the late early 2000s into like the 2010s. Yeah, they were real big in there.
That was when she was in it. And it's like, I don't know, it was just, and then she's like, oh, well, if you get to, I can't remember what his name was.
The CEO guy, I can't.
She's like, if you're one of his girls, then you get to be like on the billboard and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, they want to be like the models.
How is that any different than like Kendall Jenner, the Hadid sisters? Yeah. Like, they're favored by certain designers, and so they get the certain shoots and the certain covers and the certain like closing of a show. Like, it's all the same.
I know it was very. And then she would like talk about like, oh, you know, women are being used and stuff, but then proceeds to describe a story about how her and these other girls were all in these see-through bras and underwear making out in the bathtub and taking pictures and stuff like that. And I was like, you're not really helping.
Right.
You're like fighting against. I don't know. The book just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It was interesting, but
yeah, I'll have to listen to it. But that's what's like frustrating. I think that's not to go back to Emily Ratajkowski's book.
Yes,
but it goes back to that because it is
frustrating.
You can't like, please don't like complain about something while you're also using the system. Like,
and benefiting.
Both sides are doing things that aren't the best, maybe not great morally, but you're doing it to get somewhere. And it's like, either be fully in or fully out. Like, don't, or once it like serves you to write a tell-all book, then you're gonna do it. Okay. Like, I don't want to hear that story. You know?
And then it's like, if you're gonna try to tell us that you like lost yourself in the mix, it's like, that's not really the way to do it, because now you're sexualizing yourself and these other women that you're talking about in the story. But
yeah, anyway. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you listen to it, maybe we can talk about it more.
Yeah, I forgot that she was on a Juicy Scoop episode. Yeah, I don't know. I remember there was an American Apparel across from one of my apartments in Cincinnati, and it was like, oh, American Apparel, so cool. But then you kind of saw like the long, because I lived in the same apartment like sophomore through my senior year, and it was like, oh yeah, and like nobody's really going there anymore. So by the time I graduated, it was 2016, and that was like the end of American Apparel. Really, like it wasn't happening anymore. I think they might have even been gone by the time I graduated, like from that storefront. I believe it,
because she was like kind of at the end of everything happening. So,
crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, that's fashion.
Name of the game.
Yeah. And that happens in all areas. I mean, in business and like so many.
Yes.
Like there's these shady deals and we love to watch it. Look at us like consuming like Succession and that other one that I can't think of that was really big and I watched during COVID. Oh my God, I can't even think of, or like Billions was another one. Like that we love watching the corruption.
Scandal. I know. We
the dirty deals.
Yes.
Yeah. But I feel like there was one other thing. Oh, you know what I thought that we should do that would be fun?
What?
In 2024, we should plan a girls' trip at some point and go to Charleston. Because I think it would be fun.
You know, I am.
She's already going. She's
not
going
to Charleston.
Me.
I think I'm going to. I can't remember if it's Myrtle Beach or Outer Banks.
Oh,
so
you
I'm
are
heading that way.
When are you going?
June.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Well, 2025
with my husband's family
in June. Okay, well, that's a ways away, though. You know, maybe we can.
We'll try to figure something out.
We can figure something. We did the whole year.
We'll figure.
But it would be fun. I mean,
I know, like,
to go there. And I ran into somebody else that their stepson, I think, lives out there. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, it's so great down there. And I'm like, oh, we should go. And then I'm watching Southern Charm. And I'm like, Let's should go. It's fun down here. Just for like a quick little getaway.
Yeah. Yeah, we can try to figure something out.
All right, 2025, we're going to be here. We can wait. We can. Hell, we can bring the kids. It can be Hannah and Ailish and the two boys.
Oh, my grandma come down.
The nanny.
Yeah, the granny.
The granny.
The grandma
to watch them while we head out on the town.
Yes. Should we take a little break?
Yeah, let's take a break. The temperatures are starting to cool down, and you know what that means. It is cookie making season. So instead of making your own cookie dough or going and buying that prepackaged stuff at the store that we know isn't super healthy, why not try something that is actually made with good for you ingredients? That is where dough comes in. These cookie doughs are ready to make right out of the tub, and you can also eat the cookie dough raw because it is vegan and gluten-free. The best part is that it's enhanced with different vitamins and supplements that can support your immunity or help stabilize your mood. We have tried a few of these different flavors, and we're always eager to try new ones. They are so delicious. We've tried the donuts as well, which are so perfect to put in your lunchbox for work, and we're going to be trying some of the delicious spreads that they have soon. So if any of that sounds good to you, go to Eat Dough. That's dough spelled DEUX.com and use our promo code WATERBOTTLE for 10% off. That's eatdough.com and use promo code WATERBOTTLE.
So
we're back.
I didn't get up, but okay. Do you know? All right, I do have a confession to make that I am a Tana Mongeau fan, and I have been for too many years. Yeah. I can't quit her. But did you ever hear about her and the iDubbbz thing? Mm-mm. As it just came full circle.
Okay, no, I didn't.
So I think this was like in 2016. I can't remember. Sorry. Okay,
Doesn't matter.
Basically iDubbbz. Okay, I have to remember this correctly.
Okay.
Be patient with my mom brain. Okay.
Well, it seems like it's been going on for a long time. So.
Well, it like ended and then it came back up.
Okay.
Okay, so iDubbbz. Okay, so Tana. Okay, called out iDubbbz.
Is this another YouTuber?
This is another YouTuber because, and this is not what he does now, but he used to. He just would be kind of like offensive in a way where he would, like, he called his fan, because you know how they would always have like names for fans,
for their fan bases. Yeah.
He called them N-word, F-slur.
What?
And he was like this whole thing where everybody was okay with this guy doing this because it was a different time.
What the heck?
Yes, to like take the power away from the words. Not the way I would just say it. So Tana called him out for doing this.
Well, is he a black gay creator?
No, he's white. White straight male.
Okay, so that makes even less. Okay. Oh, yeah.
No, like it was bad. It's all bad, but it was the time, unfortunately. Yeah, it was. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying,
it was
like,
a weird.
People were just fine with it for some reason. I'm sure not everyone was, but so Tana called him out about it, but didn't really know his content. So he decides when Tana is doing a meet and greet, she does. I can't really remember why she didn't really know like what he looked like or who he was.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is what happened. Start over. I can't remember why he decided to do this. Anyway, we're back at the meet and greet.
Okay.
He decides he's going to go to her meet and greet and go up to her. And he's a grown man and she is a teenager. Me and my husband used to get into fights about this. He went up to her and like, you know, the meet and greet where you meet him.
Mm-hmm.
And he put his arm around her and he's like, look in the camera and say the N-word. And she like is like, what? And like walks away. So she goes onto YouTube, tells this whole story about this guy.
So that's how it started.
I believe so, if I remember correctly. So this is how it all starts. She gets on YouTube and like is like, and then I find out he calls his fans that. Okay, so that is actually where it started. But I don't remember why he decided to do this to her. Like, I can't remember if there was like a scandal before or not. And that's why he decided to do this. Anyway, so she gets on things. She goes, and I find out it's this iDubbbz. He's a YouTuber and he calls his fans blah, blah, blah. So he would do these series called like Content Cop. And he would like he's done it to Jake Paul, just like pointing out all the horrible things these YouTubers would do. So he gets a video, this old videos of her calling her black friend the N-word, like to his face.
Oh my God.
Obviously. And he just makes this whole video about her, cancels her and everything. And she gets like one of her times getting canceled. Probably the first time she got canceled.
Multiple times since.
And like it was a whole thing. Okay. So now we've got that. That was a whole thing. Then this year, I believe, the iDubbbz, which I can't remember his name right now. Ian, I think his real name's Ian, is on the H3 podcast because they have been friends for a while.
Okay.
And he brings it up again and his girlfriend. And he talks about how he shouldn't have gone to this girl's meet and greet when she was a teenager. And the wife was like, I think their wife. Well, they weren't husband and wife at the time.
But they are now.
And I think so. I could be getting that wrong. She's like, it was my idea actually to do this.
Oh my goodness.
And they like kind of publicly apologized for like doing this whole crazy thing. Oh, and then the thing too with Tana, she's like, he gets, because she likes to over exaggerate.
Yeah.
He gets me in this thing and I can't get away. And then so during his Content Cop, he's like, he literally let her go and like she walked away. It's still scary,
it's still
though.
for sure. Someone you don't even know.
Yeah. So anyway, he like publicly apologizes, and then it's like Tana's been on H3, and she's like, actually, I couldn't believe he like apologized or whatever. Okay, so now we're at the Steamy Awards, which was a couple weeks ago, which is H3's.
I was like, what is that?
It's the lore. You have to know the lore. It's like supposed to be like the Streamies, but they give it to like the best apology video,
like random.
Yeah, just like random, like bad. Like when there was COVID, they did like the biggest COVID-idiot or whatever.
Okay.
So anyway, so Tana and Jeff Wittick and Ethan are all hosting it because they've done it a different time, but this time they rented out like a theater and everything.
Oh goodness.
That's crazy. Anyway, so iDubbbz is up at the podium winning something. Tana is like drunk or so. She said God. She wasn't, but she was not coherent. Gets up.
Oh no, I see where this is going.
Goes to him, puts her arm around him and goes, I need you to look at the camera for me and say, she goes, forgiveness. It was so, sorry, I just had to talk about that. I'm like, that is so iconic. I can't even, just the way it fully came full circle. And he looked horrified. And then Ethan was like, oh my gosh, can you believe if she actually just said the N-word?
Oh my God.
It was crazy, but it's just crazy.
I will say, just like thinking of the old YouTube.
Yes.
I mean, stuff was just unhinged.
It was. And that's what I was like, because I had kind of forgot about that. And when I heard that thing from the streamings and then watched it, I was like, that was such an era. I can't even like just remembering all the YouTubers from that time and the drama and just all of it. And this like, my husband had his specific YouTubers and I had mine.
Yeah.
And it was just such an era.
And even to like look back on some of the stuff that some of them would do, you're like horrified. You're like, I cannot believe.
I know, just like the Hype House. I mean, that was just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane Dawson when he did the Jeffree Star like documentary and all the conspiracy videos he used. I mean, it was such a time.
I know. There were like no rules on YouTube. Then there was nothing.
And on the Storytime YouTuber videos,
and there was
amazing.
Just money like being flooded into their accounts.
Yeah,
like
before
it was
the adpocalypse or whatever. And it was literally like, yes, they were so rich. I mean, you would watch Jaclyn Hill turn into like a millionaire.
I know, before your eyes.
Insanity.
It really was. So like that kind of stuff really wasn't unusual.
No.
You know, like just the madness and like
just insane.
The collabs and the feuds. It's like,
I know. Or even like David Dobrik before like the big thing. It's like he was having A-list celebrities.
I know.
like mingling with them and like making content with them and getting used in like more mainstream media.
Yeah. It's wild. But it's funny with like, you can say what you want about like Tana Mongeau. Like, she's been through a lot, but like somehow she's always found a way to kind of rise again and come back. Like she's never fully been canceled. It's like she goes quiet for a little bit and then comes back in a new way or like a new platform or whatever.
And I've been really enjoying her podcast with Brooke Schofield. It's called Canceled. And then it's just like, it's just cool. And she just has such an interesting like influencer-y life.
Yeah. And it's, I like when she will say like insider information kind of stuff too. Or like,
so good at that.
Yeah. And not even necessarily like throwing somebody under the bus or anything like that, but just like, it's so interesting to hear how it all works.
I know. It really is. She says she's like, I'm going to have my tell a book. But like, I really want to hear like the stuff and the way she'll talk about, because she does the OnlyFans stuff now. And just like, she's like, I mean, you know, like she just gives you exactly what you want to hear.
She's transparent.
She is. And she's like, oh, I remember back in the day when it was like, oh no, Disney people are good. She's like, literally all your favorite Disney influencers, everyone's doing coke. Like, it's just like, I just love that she like says stuff like that. It's like, they are. But
that is crazy though. And like, just something that was kind of put to bed allegedly like a while ago, and then for it to come back and kind of like,
I know, and just like it was
fully
so
done.
Meta. Like I was like, oh my gosh, that time in my life. But did you see where, speaking of blonde influencers, did you see that thing with Alex Earl where she had the shirt that she like threw up on? I think it was a shirt or a dress.
Oh yeah, I did.
And then like moved with it, not washed, hung it back up in the closet, and it's like, ew, it smells. Like that is so
Sometimes this is exactly what we were talking about with like Saltburn, though.
Yes.
Which, like, not that like
my fans are the rich and famous, man.
And she doesn't have like the same level of richness as they did in Saltburn, but it's
she
like
is
her
like
family
rich.
was wealthy, and I feel like that is just such like a privilege. Like, I don't even care. Like,
and they're like, ew, I'm a gross, or like that.
Or like,
whole
I'm not gonna wash it,
right? And the whole thing where she like peed through her bodysuit, and it was like, if a girl that didn't look like Alex Earl did that, they'd be so disgusting.
Right.
But she has like the pretty privilege. Yeah. And it's like not that gross.
Right. I know.
For some reason.
And she's just like, sharing her antics. And you're like,
holy crap.
Why are you sharing this?
It's literally so crazy.
It's almost like it's too real. Like, I don't even need to know that stuff about you. Like, I wish that you didn't do that. Like, it's actually
and
gross.
It's such like a change from like her other content where you're just like getting all these outfits of the day and like putting outfits together and doing your makeup and stuff, and then you get something like that and you're like, whoa,
I know. So many people were grossed out about that shirt thing.
I know.
That's like the first thing that I do is like, I'm gonna wash this.
I know. And the fact that she like packed it up, moved it, hung it back up.
I know, and still didn't. Or at least bring it to the dry cleaner. Let someone else do it if you don't want to.
I know, it was wild.
It's crazy. It's just bizarro.
I know. I was like, dang girl. I mean, it's like funny, but it's, I don't know.
But you're
like
so
a next
right.
level.
If she wasn't this like gorgeous blonde who had a ton of money and this like quote unquote hot boyfriend, then people would be like,
"You're so disgusting."
Ew. Yeah.
Not that they aren't saying she's disgusting, but it's
but she wouldn't have the level like of fame. That. Yeah. I saw that I think it was on one of her most recent episodes of her podcast that I've never revisited after.
No, me either. I was just thinking that. I'm like, I did never listen to that again.
We didn't think we would. We aren't the demographic. But that she was finally like fully addressing the kind of drama with like her boyfriend. And then I don't even know what her... Is it Sophia? Wait, what's the sisters? The one that dated Joe Jonas.
I mean, Nick Jonas.
Nick Jonas?
I think it was Nick. Is that one Olivia? There's like Olivia, Sophia, and then another one, right?
Yeah, but I don't know the other one. Okay, it was Olivia. You're right. Anyway, I was thinking of that other one. What was her name? Camilla that dated Joe?
Belle.
Remember her?
Yes.
They all kind of look...
They do.
Weirdly similar. Anyway, she is finally saying like, well, no, we had these DMs and I literally have the messages of where we talked like I wasn't cheating, like I wasn't the other woman and all this stuff. And I'm like, I kind of have to like give Alex Earl some props on this one because she did not she didn't even like say who this guy was for so long. She didn't say like she easily could have been like her name was being thrown out there and she easily could have been like, yeah, like I took him, or no, like I was not the other woman. And she really stayed silent and like didn't go there and didn't want to discuss it. And now that they're like fully dating, she's being a little bit more open and kind of like tired of this narrative. But yeah, I'm like kind of impressed that she had the receipts and she brought them.
Good for her. I know. I like her. But I just feel weird about being invested in her.
Yeah, me too. Because it's just
too old.
Yeah, we're just not the same.
Just too old and not related.
If I would have been like, even like 5 years younger, I feel like it would have been different. Right. But yeah, no, we're oldies.
I know. Well, I was just thinking about the Ariana Grande coming out with a new album.
Yeah.
Speaking of other women situation, I'm curious, like, what she's gonna like say. And then she like had that, I didn't read all the stuff she said with the thing where she said she felt misunderstood this year.
I just skimmed through that.
I didn't read. I just saw the headline of she was misunderstood.
Yeah,
I was like,
and she also was like, I felt so supportive and like loved, and it was like one of the happiest years. I don't know. It's just really weird. Like, I am interested to... not that I'm like a huge Ariana Grande fan. Like, I never have been. I like listen to her stuff on the radio. But
like, it's not really ever that profoundly deep, though.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this will be a little different now that she's not with Scooter.
But I wonder what it's going to be. Is it going to be about like the divorce? Or is it going to be more like... I found this new love, like what, and I mean, I hate to rag on Ariana Grande, but it's not like she's one that I think is like, I don't take her relationships seriously.
I know, unfortunately, because it's like, you're not really in these long-term relationships, and then they always are coming, like the guy is always coming off another relationship.
I know.
And so it's kind of like, I mean, what are we supposed to think as the public?
Right. And I mean, comparing it to like Taylor Swift she went through like a bunch of boyfriends there too. And we got different songs about them. But it feels different.
It does.
And I think it's because if we can look back and be like, Taylor was casually dating and she was very young, and like Ariana more recently,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, okay, so we've just like hopped from like one guy and been all in.
Yes.
And been like fully engaged. And then, oh no, that didn't work out.
I know.
And then we're fully engaged. And then that didn't work out. And then we're married.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work out.
It's like divorced instantly.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't take that seriously.
No.
Whereas if it was just like she was just dating.
Right.
And didn't act like, oh yeah, like this is going to be the love of my
I
life.
know.
But we're engaged after like 6 weeks,
Literally.
like I would take it more seriously.
I know.
So I just wonder, that's when she and Dalton were getting divorced, like I wasn't even surprised by that because
I know, and then it was like you were so public with Pete and like kind of Mac Miller too in a way. And then this one you were so private about it. And then it was just over.
Right. So you almost were like, oh, will this last? But then when you heard that they, it was a COVID thing and then they got married so quickly, you're like, okay, seems like history repeating itself. And then I don't know if there was actually like full on cheating, but definitely seemed like an emotional affair.
Yes.
Whether they were separated or not.
Right.
It's just like...
What happened here? I know. And then it's like, again, we don't know if this is true, but you're hearing that they were like going on double dates with their
I know.
spouses. And it's like, what is going on here?
And then the wife, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but she was saying, she had that post where she's like, I'll raise our kid myself. Like I'm a single mom. Like, I mean, could she have been kind of grabbing for attention? Right. Yeah. But like, I don't even know her name. So obviously it wasn't like she was trying to stay in the press. Right.
And she kind of like went away.
Yeah.
And then I know. So I think it'll be, I don't know. I do want to kind of hear what she has to say for herself. Like, are we going to get like that vapidity, like, pop star music, or are we gonna actually get some like
something with more substance? Or do I want to hear, like, do I want to hear how you broke up this marriage, like, and it all, I think we kind of talked about this before, and there's no like excuse for anything like that, but at the same time it's like for this other guy, I can't even think of his name. Ethan.
That's the new guy, right?
Something, yeah.
And then Dalton is the
old guy. It's like, how are you supposed to turn someone like that down? Right. Like, how are you supposed to, like, listen, I'm all for the sanctity of marriage. Like, don't get me wrong. But it's just like, I can totally see.
Like you're getting caught up in the Ariana Grande of it all. It's like, that's what I remember when we were talking about it before. It's like, you never think like, oh, Ariana Grande is going to steal my husband as a normal person. And then it like happens.
I know. Or just like, if it wasn't like a marriage breaking up situation, like if like Nick Jonas like walked in the door right now and was like so in love with me, I would have no problem with him.
Priyanka, who?
Yeah, who? I don't. You know what I mean? Like you do get swept up in that, and
I know, and like the fame and the money.
And the possibility.
Yeah,
I mean, he's probably also thinking, oh my God, I'm so enamored by her, but like, what could this do for my career? And, you would get really swept up, and it's not.
And they're gonna be having this big movie come out, so it's only gonna get like,
it's not to like say that I am diminishing anything about their previous marriage. I mean, that was really sad. Like, they were high school sweethearts, and I mean, he really threw it all away, but like, I can see how someone would be tempted and fall victim to that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna last for him, and that's why I feel like he was stupid.
Yeah, it's like you're just dumb, like Ariana Grande. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe they will last.
Yeah, maybe we are, but I don't know.
It'll be interesting, that's for sure. So
yeah, I probably won't see Wicked.
I probably will.
I won't go to the theater to see it.
I don't know if I will go to the theater. Isn't it supposed to be like a 2-part thing? Or
is it? I don't know.
Hearing something.
I haven't really been following along.
Me either. Well, it kind of got like quiet because this was kind of bad press.
Well, it was. I saw a TikTok where somebody was like, I was so excited for this film. Like, I was literally, it was my entire personality. I was so pumped. And then this happened, and there's like a scarlet letter on it now. Like, it tainted the whole thing.
It did.
It truly did. And I wonder how if that will impact like the release and how they choose to like promote everything.
I know. Are they gonna have those two? They're either gonna have to just like we're madly in love with each other, or they're gonna have to like do the Harry Styles Olivia wild
it's
thing.
really reminiscent of that.
It is, where it's like the murky water in the marriages and and then it just like what was I gonna say? Oh, I wonder too if she's gonna just like bash the husband, her ex-husband too, in some of the music, and if that's her. Oh, no wonder now she's got the new guy that treats her so good.
Well, that's kind of the way it always.
I know, it's like actually he was so crappy to me.
Yeah, and it's not like bashing in a like such horrible way, but it's just like she throws little things in her song where like my new guy's so much better because he does blah blah blah. Where it's like, really, did all your exes not do that for you?
And this will probably be our last thing, but the Glenn Powell and this Powell and
my God.
And then he freaking like, what even was that? Yeah, she was just really good at, because she's in a stable relationship, so she can pretend, and mine was failing. Why was it failing?
Right.
Because you were having an affair.
You're practically making out with her everywhere.
And like that was just so. And okay, so now that like the opening weekend came out and stuff, now you can just like
burst the bubble.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't see how that is even like a good marketing ploy.
It was terrible.
I don't feel that whole thing did not make me want to see that movie any more than I do now or did before. Like no, it didn't do anything for me. If anything, it made me more confused, and I like.
It was such a strange. Like, I don't even know what they were doing. And then it was like, when he's like, yeah, she's in a healthy relationship. And then all of a sudden the husband is with her during the press stuff. And it's like, what in the heck?
Yeah, we hadn't seen him in a while. And then all of a sudden, I know. I thought that was weird too. And like, why come out and say it?
Literally,
why do
just
that?
let it be. Just stop talking to each other.
Right.
It's like, what?
And then no one probably would have said anything, and we all would have just moved on. But I'm sorry. I don't care how healthy your relationship is. There's got to be some cracks in the foundation or some openness to your relationship. If your significant your fiance is fine with you just going out and pretending to be.
It almost makes it seem like he's just like the rich older guy with
and it's
the
like
young
whatever
hot
she can
actress.
do whatever she wants.
And it's like fine. That was just so bizarre.
I know.
It actually kind of irritated me.
It did too. Me too.
What is this?
I was annoyed by it. Like,
and then the way they were like, oh no, we're just friends. No, I'm just engaged.
And I'm sorry. Like, I don't believe it. I just don't. Like, the way they've
like a
acted
backtrack
for like all through filming, and it's then weird. Plus the hype that we've had, the promotion.
She's like hanging out with this family. Like, was that all fake then, allegedly?
Right. And what a weird thing to do. What a weird thing. Weird. Like, she thought it all up.
Right.
Okay, that's really weird.
And you were just like, okay, I just don't think you need to. Like, you can
oh, my girlfriend's mad about it. Well, too bad. We got to continue the ruse. Oh, we're breaking up over it. Well, too bad.
I got to sell this movie.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, they had great chemistry, and we were never like,
aren't they
together? Yeah, it was just great, good chemistry. It's like, it is, I don't know.
Or Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga, like they weren't all over each other for the promo.
Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah,
it's like, I think you can do it, but they were doing it wrong.
And I feel like they were, in some ways, I saw like some type of comparison with like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, but like, they actually were involved in an affair.
Like they were,
and it wasn't for promo for the movie.
Right.
It was literally they got caught and he was in a marriage.
Oops. I know. Like, it's like we said, I think you can do it, but I don't think that was the case with this one.
Yeah.
Such a weird move.
And like we said already multiple times, like why reveal that it wasn't real.
Yeah, it was almost like, no, it was never real the whole time. It's like
to me, that takes away. Like, I don't even want to see the movie.
I know, that really turned me off.
Okay.
I know, it's like I would have rather them been having an affair.
Yeah.
And just like denying it or something. But this was like, yeah, we just pretended.
And you're right how like in the interviews, so they were so calculated as to be like, oh, well, so there's all these rumors going around with you guys. Lovingly look at each other. Oh,
we're just friends.
No, guys, we're just friends. There's absolutely nothing.
I know. It's like,
going on.
It's like, are you gonna be like, I'm engaged?
Yeah. Why would
like the way that was just nothing?
She like turns the ring around.
She goes, "What ring?" Flicks it off.
I know, that was so weird. And even when he was in a relationship, it was like, what girlfriend? Like,
literally, it was so like I would have been a little irritated about that too. I don't know. It was just like,
and I'm sure that's not the only thing that like ruined their relationship, but I'm sure it was a catalyst.
I know.
I mean,
it's
how
like,
could
what
it
are
not
you doing?
be?
Right.
Or did she know that there really was something going on?
You should look her up one of these days.
See what she's posted.
Yeah. What the comments are.
She's probably pulling like a full-on like Jonah Hill's ex, or she's just been putting everything on her stories. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anywho.
Crazy. Well, do you have a recommendation to wrap it up?
Right.
Our first recommendation of the new year.
I do. Which I'm not showing you guys, but I have a cold sore. But this time...
You can barely see it.
Hold on a second. This time, I used tea tree on it instead of Abreva. And it literally worked so good.
Just
This is literally like 4 days.
It looks
and
good.
It's already like dried up.
Shriveled.
And it helped so much with the pain too. Like I had almost... I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to like... I don't know, bite my lips effectively, but it like didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Like at all. So if you are one of the lucky people who got cold sores from your mom, which I confront her about and she blows off, try the tea tree. And ironically enough, my mom gave me that recommendation from her friend.
Wow.
And it's so much cheaper than Abreva. I mean, Abreva is like almost $30.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, and I think this worked better. And it was like, I don't know, 6 or 10 or something. So
well, and tea tree oil is good for like if you have acne or something too. Like there's a lot of benefits. So multi-purpose, whereas Abreva not so
Only
much.
One purpose.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. So. I've never had a cold sore before, but it really like sucks because you can't really do anything about it. Like you can't cover it up.
Right. And I don't get them that often.
Yeah, thank goodness.
So it's like I don't have to be on a medication for them. Like, I mean, it's been a couple years since I had one.
It's so like annoying. And especially if you get them in like an unopportune time, you're like, well, can't wear a lip color today.
There was somewhere I was supposed to go today and I didn't go because I have a cold sore.
But the lighting in here is quite good. So it's fine.
So anyway,
I'm going to recommend. For Christmas, my aunt got me this like really nice charcuterie board, and I don't know if they have it at Trader Joe's right now, but they did have it over the holidays. It might be something they have all the time. I don't know, but it's this fig butter. And it sounds kind of weird.
No,
but
I love figs.
It's just a spread, you know how they call cookie butter, but it's not butter. And I've been having that with like cheese and crackers. Oh, it is so good. Like it's such a nice flavor.
That sounds good.
And I would recommend, getting a little charcuterie board together.
Getting a cute little setup.
Even if you just have it for yourself, like it's nice. It's nice to have a nice grazing plate versus one that's just, I open all the packages and eat random stuff. Yeah, but my main recommendation is that fig butter. So
that sounds good. I like fig.
How many times have we recommended Trader Joe's stuff?
I know,
like
it's
a million times.
There this weekend too.
I know, I love it so much.
Those dang cornbread cracker things.
Oh, I should have got some. I was
surprised they still had them.
I know some of the things like the seasonal stuff just goes away so fast.
I know.
I'm really mad that they had their honey wheat pretzels and then they changed the like vendor of them and they don't taste the same.
And I was mad too because I got this, I loved it, this moisturizer. It was like this honey moisturizer and it came with a day cream and a night cream and they didn't have any. And I was like, is it gonna be a seasonal thing? Like I was so upset.
I will say sad. Anytime I've gone and I like can't find something or whatever and I ask an employee, like they are so good about either knowing or going to the back and asking like, are we gonna get this? And they've come, like there was this specific cheese that I was getting for somebody and they were like, yeah, that usually comes in November like 16th. And I'm like, wow, thank you so much for letting me know. So next time you're there, if you don't see it, you should just ask someone.
Maybe I should. I was devastated.
Maybe they just only don't have it for a little bit.
I know. I'm like, so sad. But if I ever see it again, I'm buying multiple.
I know. That's what I like. Devastated. Their hair mask.
I know. I use some of their stuff like off and on. They're like whatever beauty stuff. And I do like it.
I know. It's just, I wish we had one closer to us.
If people, that's what you guys can do for me. Try to get one in this area and petition in. I've already sent in mine and I keep telling people to do it and they just laugh at me. It's like, I mean, dead serious.
They have that on their website for a reason where you can
and
put
they said and the employee literally told me if you get enough people.
It would be perfect in the like Toledo, Perrysburg area. It would be perfect.
That's what I'm saying. But anywho.
Well, this is our first pod of the new year. Oh, I hope that everybody enjoyed our last one with our interview with the Connection Queen. We really loved that interview. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll be able to do it again.
Especially when Vanderpump starts back up. We'll have to talk with her about it.
Yeah, so let us know what you thought.
And if any of you have like other connections with people in higher places that you think you could swing for us to get an interview with, please let us know.
I know. I do think we will try like reaching out to more people. See what happens.
Some new accounts followed us that are like Bravo accounts and stuff. So maybe
something will happen with that.
I know, but now we're just turning into a full-on Bravo podcast. Well, that's okay.
Sometimes it's not though.
Yeah. I mean, today we didn't even talk about it because none of the shows were new this week. So
I know.
But yeah, we're recording this early, by the way, because by the time this is released, there will be new ones out that we'll get to talk about next week.
Yeah.
But
I'm not gonna do it today, but I do want to get my thoughts on season 8 of Vanderpump.
Oh yeah, we forgot, but we can do it next time.
Yeah.
Also, if anyone's thinking of like their New Year's goals and resolutions, I have a great one that you could put down that you would be able to complete right away. It's to follow us on all platforms.
Please. Maybe
leave a review.
Yeah.
Or at least give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
So that can be something that you complete when this comes out on, when will it be? The 6th of January? For the 5th? January 5th, you can already have one thing checked off your list.
Yep.
Just do us a solid.
Please.
And let's start 2024 right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.